security guard shot and killed a man outside a gas station in Aurora last night. Investigators say this looks like a case of self-defense. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jennifer Meckles. 9 News reporter Rhea Jha has been covering this case since last night. She joins us live in Aurora this afternoon with some new details. Rhea?
Jennifer, crime tape was surrounding this entire gas station last night, and by this morning, 7-Eleven was back open and running for business. So police are saying that it happened right outside the entrance of this 7-Eleven. They said that a security guard had just walked out of the store when a man with a gun came up to him. This 7-Eleven at the corner of East Colfax and Peoria Street is consistently manned with security guards. On Saturday night around 9 p.m., one of them was held at gunpoint. We spoke with Julie Ellis that night, whose roommate was working inside when it happened.
In the parking lot, the security guard had no other choice to fire back because the guy in the parking lot was waving a gun and threatening to shoot.
Aurora police said the man came up from behind the security guard and held a gun to his head. After struggling to get the weapon out of the man's hand, the guard took out his own gun and shot him.
The guy was bleeding out.
Officers say they performed life-saving actions until medics arrived.
The security guard was shooken up because he had no other choice but to shoot the guy. And the guy did not enter inside the building, just in the parking lot.
That night, the man died shortly after getting to the hospital, and the security guard was taken in for questioning. The investigation is ongoing, but police are saying it seemed like the guard acted in self-defense. The security guards at the 7-Eleven are employed by a private company, Iron Spear Protection Group. In a statement from the president of the company, he said they are backing the guard involved with, quote, absolute certainty after reviewing the incident. The president of the company also said that the guard is doing well and is with his family. He also said that they are working with APD on this investigation and cooperating as much as they can. Reporting live in Aurora, Rhea Jha, 9 News.
Now let's turn to your forecast. Quick live look outside over Denver. Another warm day today as we wrap up the summer season on this Labor Day holiday weekend. Weather Impact Team meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen joins us today. It's going to be a pretty warm Labor Day tomorrow.
Yep, one more hot day tomorrow and then another one on Tuesday. And then it looks like a good cold front come through on Wednesday, cool us off just a little bit. But today's weather will all be logged in the fall season because we track the fall season from the beginning of September to the end of November. So let's go. Here we go. We got the 88 degrees was the high temperature in Denver today. Currently 86 at the airport, 85 at the 9 News studios. So your weather impact headlines that we're watching, more heat, yes, Monday and Tuesday also in the 90s. Fire weather will be an issue. We don't have any warnings to tell you about in the Colorado side, but we will be near critical for humidity and wind tomorrow. And then we are watching that cold front that still looks like it's on track for Wednesday afternoon, and that'll cool us off for Thursday. But here's your timeline for the day on Monday. Lots of sunshine. We may get a few more afternoon clouds to take the edge off, but the temperature might be a couple of degrees hotter for you tomorrow. Same thing across much of the Front Range. We could see some middle 90s, but mostly upper 80s and low 90s, and the mountains checking in once again in the 70s and 80s. I'll have more weather information coming up in the full forecast.
Corey, thank you. Commerce City police say they're looking for 3 people that walked into an open garage armed with guns and stole a motorcycle this week. Police say this happened early Thursday morning in the Eagle Creek neighborhood that's just north of Rocky Mountain Arsenal. The suspects were carrying a rifle and a handgun, and they took off with a black 2016 Yamaha motorcycle they stole. Police are still trying to figure out who these people are. They think the suspects left in a dark-colored older model Ford pickup truck with a silver stripe along the bottom. If you know anything, Commerce City Police would like to hear from you. It's now been 3 years since 10 people were killed in a shooting at King Soopers in Boulder. And this week, jury selection will continue in the trial against the alleged shooter. Ahmad Alyssa is charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. He has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Jury selection for this case started last week. Prospective jurors have been filling out questionnaires, turning them over to the prosecution and the defense. And on Tuesday, attorneys will start the process of questioning them in person. Opening statements in the trial could start as early as Thursday, September 5th. This week, the race for Colorado's 4th congressional district heats up. Colorado Republican Lauren Boebert will face off against her Democratic opponent, Tricia Calvarisi, in their very first debate. Boebert, who currently represents Colorado's 3rd district, is running for a new district seat after defeating her GOP challengers in June's primary election. Meanwhile, Calvarisi won a close Democratic primary. She also went out for the special election, but failed to win that to replace Ken Buck, who had resigned earlier this year. Instead, Republican Greg Lopez took that seat. He's not running for a full term. He'll just serve it out for the rest of the year. On Tuesday, though, Boebert and Calvarisi are set to debate business and economic issues. They'll be at the Club Ravenna in Littleton. The deadline for Democratic Governor Jared Polis to sign a property tax compromise into law is approaching. That bill could mean about $255 million in tax cuts on top of a $1 billion tax cut passed earlier this year. It will also add new caps to how much tax revenue local governments can bring in every year. Polis says he will only sign this bill after 2 conservative tax measures are removed from the November ballot. And the deadline to do that is Friday. Tonight, there's a new warning from Denver Water. They say there's a scam. People are posing as utility workers. Denver Water says these scammers are showing up to people's houses looking to collect water quality tests, and then they'll try to offer to install an expensive at-home treatment device. These home visits are a red flag. Denver Water says their employees only make these at-home visits in an emergency, like if your water main breaks or there's a major construction project.
It's pretty rare that Denver Water will be at your house. Of course, there might be some stuff going on in your neighborhood where Denver Water might be there. But you'll definitely see marked logoed vehicles, hats, shirts on our employees. And in those rare occasions when we do actually need to go in someone's home, that's typically set up beforehand.
Denver Water says they will never come to your house to collect money. If this happens to you, they want to know about it. Reach out to Denver Water. Find out if there's an employee actually doing any work in your area. The Rocky Mountain Crisis Services officially switched to an out-of-state company today. Starting at midnight, they took the very last 988 calls before that switch. The new company now answering the phones is Solari, based in Tempe, Arizona. The switch comes from a state decision that could save Colorado $4 million. State says it picked Solari because it received the highest score in the evaluation process. 988 calls and crisis services, should you need them, those will continue to be answered. There's a lot of women in the U.S. having fewer kids, sometimes no kids at all. A new report from the CDC shows last year we hit a historic low for birth and fertility rates. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause shares why doctors say this is a trend they think is going to continue.
There's something special about helping bring a baby into the world.
Checking on baby Elena.
So she's a little over 24 hours old.
These are moments Dr. Kitty Christensdotter savors.
Little ruffles on her butt. Her little outfit. Yeah.
As an OBGYN with Advent Health Parker, she's delivered plenty of these little bundles of joy.
And she has the most beautiful eyelashes and dark hair.
Despite new data from the CDC that shows women are having babies less often, the U.S. fertility rate reached a record low in 2023.
I don't think it's entirely surprising.
Since 2007, when the fertility rate was at its most recent high, that report shows the number of births has dropped 17%. The fertility rate dropped 21%.
Yeah, it looks like the lowest number that we've had.
Dr. Christensdotter says there's not just one reason why.
Women feeling more comfortable saying that they don't want to have kids, they don't plan on having children. I think that's something that in the past was maybe not as socially acceptable.
Many women are choosing their careers. Others worry about the environmental impact of having kids. Some just can't afford it. With abortion access uncertain, some women are having their tubes tied to prevent it. And those that are having kids are waiting longer.
It's unusual now for us to see someone in their early 20s, 21, 22, whereas, years ago that was a very normal time to start having kids.
And having fewer kids when they do.
It's a little bit unusual nowadays to see a family that has 5 or 6 kids, whereas back maybe 20, 30 years ago, that was a lot more, I think, kind of the norm.
While some are sounding the alarm about this drop in birth rates, Dr. Christensdotter believes this decline is due to women having options.
People have more choices now, and they're able to make that decision without society making them feel like they're doing something crazy or wrong.
That was Rachel Krause reporting. Doctors say they expect the drop in birth rates to eventually even out as people start to feel more comfortable deciding if and when starting a family is right for them.